What a lie! What a lie! This movie is advertised as an unnecessary prequel. What a lie! What a lie! Most of this movie is an unnecessary sequel. What a lie! What a lie! This movie's really stupid anyway. The Huntsman, Winter's War, directed by Nicholas-Troyan, who was the visual effects director for Snow White and the Huntsman, which came out a couple of years back. And this movie is advertised to be a prequel to the movie. It's advertised to be the origin story to the Huntsman. However, much of this is a lie. Part of this movie is a prequel to Snow White and the Huntsman that centers around Chris Hemsworth's character, Eric the Huntsman. The rest of this movie, most of it, is actually a sequel, a follow-up to Snow White and the Huntsman, centered around Chris Hemsworth's character and his new love interest, played by Jessica Chastain's Sarah, as they go up against Emily Blunt's character, Queen Frey, or universal versions of Elsa from Frozen. Yeah, this movie is very much Frozen light. Jeez. Oh boy. So the plot of this movie is we find out Queen Frey, who is Universal's Elsa, was Ravana's sister, Charlize Theron's character from Snow White and the Huntsman. Does that make Ravana Universal's version of Anna from Frozen, since they're sisters? So when Ravana was being an evil queen way before Snow White came around, Queen Frey had a child, and Ravana found out through her magic mirror that this child was going to become the fairest of them all. So she wanted this child to be killed, and Queen Frey didn't want this to happen. Unfortunately, and I am going to give away some spoilers, mostly because I do not like this movie, and I don't recommend it right off the bat. Ravana kills the child, and this causes Queen Frey's powers to come out, and she turns into this evil ice queen. After Ravana's death, she turns into this evil ice queen and leaves Ravana to set up her own kingdom elsewhere. Queen Frey starts kidnapping children and trains them to be her army. She teaches these children that love is a sin. If you decide to fall in love, you are breaking the law of Queen Frey's kingdom, and you will be punished. And of course, two people in this kingdom decide to break that law. One is Eric the Huntsman, played by Chris Hemsworth, and his one true love in this movie, Sarah, played by Jessica Chastain. Queen Frey finds out about their love and decides to force them to break up. Tests their love, asks them, if you truly love each other, you can leave if you think I will let you, as a challenge, and she does her best to prevent them from leaving, and Queen Frey is actually successful breaking them up by killing Jessica Chastain's character, or that is what Chris Hemsworth believes, thanks to Queen Frey's magic, the ice. Chris Hemsworth leaves alone, and as we know from Snow White and the Huntsman, he ends up falling for Snow White, and that's where the next part of the movie takes up, and it's after Ravana's death. Charlize Theron's character is dead from the first movie. We find out that the mirror, Charlize Theron's mirror, Ravana's mirror, has driven Snow White mad. Or should we say Snow White's body double, because we never really see Kristen Stewart in this movie. It's very clear, I think, that Kristen Stewart did not want to do this movie, which is why they decided probably to advertise this as a prequel. But I'm thinking that much of the script was already written to be a sequel to this movie, so they really couldn't get around the fact that it is a sequel/prequel kind of movie. So through the whole movie, Snow White is referred to, but she's not really in the movie. Her knights are giving orders to Eric, go after the mirror and make sure it doesn't fall into the hands of Queen Frey, since it's missing, and they want to make sure Queen Frey doesn't get her hands on it. And we find out that the mirror drives everyone mad, anyone that gets near it. So it's either retrieve the mirror or find a way to destroy it. Later on, Chris Hemsworth finds out his one true love is still alive. Jessica Chastain's character is Sarah. We get a lot of that in this movie. Death doesn't really seem to matter, and you can just kill somebody and then bring them back from the dead later on in the movie, and it's like, what? Almost everyone in this movie that are main characters seem to die later on are brought back from the dead, including Charlize Theron's character Ravana. Now, saying this in this review would be considered a big spoiler, but she is well advertised in the movie that she is in it. And the way she's brought back is so stupid, and much of the way people are resurrected from the dead after they get killed is very stupid. Even Chris Hemsworth gets his own death and resurrection a couple times, and of course he can't die, he's the main character. And that's pretty much our movie. So let's get into the positives of this movie, which they're not that many. First off, Chris Hemsworth and Jessica Chastain, Charlize Theron including too, they are doing the best with this material, and Chris Hemsworth, Jessica Chastain, they have great chemistry. I really did like seeing Jessica Chastain as this warrior woman with a bow and arrow. That was awesome. And these kinds of characters that Chris Hemsworth play, like Thor and that character of Huntsman, are awesome. Although, in some ways, it kind of felt like Chris Hemsworth was doing this character in his sleep, because this is the same kind of character that Thor is. And if you're just doing the exact same character that you're famous for in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, really, there's not much range there. The comic relief, which are 4 dwarves, 2 male dwarves, 2 female dwarves. One of them is played by Simon Pegg's best friend from the Coronado trilogy, Nick Frost. The other 3 dwarves are played by Rob Brydon, plays Nick Frost's half-brother, and then got the 2 female dwarves played by Alexandria Roach and Sophie Cookson. All 4 of these dwarves are pretty funny in the movie. A couple times they were a little bit annoying, but not that much. And Charlize Theron is very much over the top in this movie, more so over the top than she was in Snow White and the Huntsman. Now let's talk about the negatives. Right up there is Emily Blunt's character, Queen Frey, or Universal Elsa. Man, this has got to be one of the worst performances that Emily Blunt has ever done. And she's a terrific actress, but she's wasted in this movie. So wasted. This is like Eddie Redmayne's performance from Jupiter Ascending. That's how bad this is. I mean, everything you love about Emily Blunt acting is totally drained out of her in this movie. She's not as charismatic as she usually is. She doesn't put as much energy into emotions in this movie, because she's supposed to be very cold-hearted and very non-emotional and everything, and that kind of performance doesn't work well with her, really. And the dynamic between her and Charlize Theron's character, Ravana, is not done too well. There's really not too much of a dynamic between them, really. Then the special effects. Oh my, the special effects in this movie are atrocious. Some of the special effects are actually pretty good, since this is directed by a special effects director. But a lot of the special effects, the CGI, looks terrible. There's this one giant ogre-like creature that looks awful in this movie, and there's a lot of unnecessary CGI. There's a CGI squirrel in this movie. What the heck? You couldn't get a real squirrel to scurry around the set or film on a real location with a real squirrel instead? No, let's use a fake squirrel. That's so dumb. This really was not a good movie. Not that I didn't expect this to be much of a good movie. I expected this to be terrible. So I'm going to give this movie a D. Don't see this film. Go see Everybody Wants Some instead. I just saw that movie, and that movie is much better than this film. And that's all I got to say for The Huntsman Garbage War.